We didn't know it at the time, but in 2018, the next installment of the WWE 2K series was the end of something, an end of an era. This was Yuke's final WWE game. And instead of them just leaving with a empty upgrade, they decided to give us one of the strongest titles in the entire 2K series. Better gameplay, more replay value, and finally perfecting the simulation system that they've been working on since WWE 2K15. This is WWE 2K19, the final game under Yuke's, and for a lot of people, the last WWE game that got it right. Oh, well, we're not supposed to show that yet. That was going to be a little later. So WWE 2K19, published by 2K, developed by Yuke's, and co-developed by Visual Concepts. As I already said, it's an end of an era. This is the final game under Yuke's, and they've been making the game since 2000. You've seen the beginning of the beginning of this series. How many days ago at this point? Almost 20 days ago with the original SmackDown PS1. Yuke's developed this game, and they decided to put in one more effort, one more swan song with 2K19. Oh, what's up, Red? Thanks for being here so early. I appreciate it. Yeah, and there's many factors. Which we'll go over in a second. There's many factors as to why this was Yuke's final game. Because there's actually interesting news articles that we're going to be looking basically into the future. Way after the game got released, 2K19, before we actually start doing gameplay. I feel like the story of this game, of afterwards, is way more interesting than before it was coming out. Because in case people forget, this game, for a lot of people, depending on who you ask, some people say this game got the reception more so because of the disaster that was 2K20. But people really thought it was a solid game when it first came out. But I think the majority, more people classify it as in the realm of 2K14 or Here Comes the Pain on one hand, because again, it was more likely because of the disaster of 2K20. But I think it earned that right of it being up there with those games, because this is pretty much Yuke's final vision, their vision that they've been starting with 2K15 with the whole simulation system. They seem like this game finally perfected with one gameplay mechanic that they added. Who knew it took one gameplay mechanic after not having nothing for the past two games to finally feel like this series was going somewhere in the simulation era. And one more thing, obviously, this game came out on the Xbox One, PS4, and Steam. Once again, no Nintendo Switch after the disaster that was 2K18. They will not get another release until the Switch 2 with 2K25, and that was after 2K25 came out on the other consoles. So I briefly already had it up. There's a article, and I must stress the date because this is going to be important come tomorrow, from May 13th, 2019. Oh, what's up, Michael? Thanks for stopping by early. Thank you guys for being early. So, written by, what was it? The VGC. WWE 2K Studios creating rival wrestling IP. So Yuke's basically themselves decided to make a brand new IP internally to essentially make competition for themselves at the time with the WWE 2K series. Because again, I must stress this date, May 13th, 2019. As far as anyone was aware, everything was fine with with Yuke's Visual Concepts and the license of the WWE series. I just want you to keep that in mind. And yeah, again, basically one of the factors was the lack of competition in the wrestling genre. Essentially, because it has been competition since Jesus, probably like 2003 or 4, they just felt complacent. They felt like the series wasn't going anywhere. And there's this interesting interview that he said something that's one to read. The guy asks, Yuke's had been creating wrestling games for over 25 years. How have you maintained your success in the genre where so many other developers have fallen away? And the answer was by persistence and keeping a determined attitude. In truth, having to make WWE games every year has made us stronger because we have no room to relax. In the early days, we could achieve our goals simply by working hard, but now the games have become so gigantic that it's essential we plan ahead. We typically plan ahead 3 years in advance. So that's one thing I like to point out. You know, this game comes out yearly. The actual concept of the game happened almost 3 years ago, according to Ukes, and decide which specific content we want to implement across those years. In addition to that, work ethic. Well, that sucks. Where did this come from? I didn't think this thing was bugged. Huh. Let's try to read that again. What is happening? Okay, that website's bugged. We're not touching that again. So yeah, that was essentially just the interview. They were complacent. They wanted to push themselves, make something new because they felt like the series has been going forward and their expectations on it. Because as I said, prior to 2K having the license under THQ, every game felt different. Every game was a unique experience. You would not get the same experience from SmackDown versus Raw 2008, where you would get it with Here Comes the Pain, and then you would not get the same experience from Here Comes the Pain with SmackDown versus Raw 2011. All those games under THQ, you got a unique experience to them. That stopped during 2K. I mean, granted, 2K15 was vastly different, but then you had, as we showed you for the past few days, 17 and 18, where basically nothing improved, and that kind of killed the morale of Ukes. So that's what made them say, okay, we're gonna have to make a new IP to push ourselves further to make a great game. And I want to stress that date. What was it? May 13th, 2019. 2K19 is already out. Yeah, that came out October 2018. That was their reasoning. I just keep that date in mind for tomorrow. But now in terms of actual gameplay, first things first, I just have to point out the beauty of this menu. This is the last menu that has a unique style to it. I know 2K20 has its own thing, but it's pretty much just a montage of videos, clips from like the trailer that they had in the commercials. But this is just so unique and so cool. Like you have the superstars fading out, or like, yeah, just fading out thanks to this all white background, like this white and black aesthetic that they went with is so cool. So you have AJ. I want to see if I can go through all the superstars that they have on this menu. AJ Styles, Shinsuke Nakamura, Bobby Roode, Pete Dunne, Daniel Bryan, Bray Wyatt, Aleister Black, Charlotte Flair, Lacey Evans, Tyler Bate, Bobby Lashley, Finn Balor and his Demon, Seth Rollins, Sheamus, Braun Strowman, Adam Cole, Sasha Banks, Samoa Joe, Roman Reigns, Matt Hardy, Rusev, Randy Orton, Asuka, John Cena, Alexa Bliss, Shayna Baszler. So you can see they really diversified their selections from Raw, SmackDown, NXT, and NXT UK at the time. But I guess the best way to showcase 2K19 is just go through one of the normal matches, because that's where the new system is implemented with the payback system. Why not pick the phenomenal AJ Styles right here? Edit payback. You get 2 paybacks. You get the instant. So it depends. You have a multitude of them, a yellow one and a red one. The red one comes a little bit later. So you have instant recovery, reversal, possum. You have a bunch of stuff, but I'm just gonna select the default one that AJ has, and we keep it like that. And he'll face. Let's do someone random. I think we did Harper yesterday. Someone that we haven't picked, or someone new. Jeff Hardy, why not? And we'll just do it at WrestleMania. I don't know how that website got bugged, so I apologize. Luckily I got out of that. And yes, they updated AJ Styles' entrance. And like I said, I feel like the lighting is 10 times more better than what it was in 2K18. Like, again, the graphics were fine, and essentially the graphics are basically the same from... Or Jeff Hardy's gonna attack me. That's nice. I was not expecting that. You don't know what's gonna happen in this game. I wish we'll get more of that. Where did he come from? That was completely random. Let's try to get into the ring before. There we go, we got him. And I can briefly now fight with my jacket on. One of the cool things about it. And the gameplay, again, is a lot more faster than 2K17 and 18. It was essentially, the developers realized, even though they were making this simulation game, it was starting to get kind of slow. So they sped it up a little. Everything flows a lot more better. The moves don't take like 5 seconds to do. This little cutscene so AJ can take off his jacket. So as you can already see on, I think I already have my payback full right now. So once he hits me, I should be able to. How do I utilize it? Superstar info, payback. Hold RB and press LB while in a down state. Forgot how to use it for a second. Unfortunately, the pin system is... I still don't like it, but it is what it is. I wonder when they change it. I'm downloading 2K19 right now, bro. Thanks to you and these streams. Oh, well, I'm glad I was... Again, this is a fun... Don't get me wrong. It's a very fun game. It still holds up. I just hate now just... to the... I'll give credit to 2K. The new pin system that we have now, I feel like it's way more better and fair. Where it's literally based on your precision of it. That stupid circle, I don't think is accurate. What is your favorite memory of 2K19? Again, I feel like this is like, in terms of simulation, this is the last good simulation game. I know, oh my god. I know 2K20 is basically the same, but not a lot of people play 2K20. But people consider 2K19 the last good simulation game. Everything a lot more, pretty much every single move flows with each other, like, thanks to the animations. It just made everything quicker. Oh, what's up, Ahmed? God damn it. Whew. I was able to get out of it. This game, I mean, this is on normal difficulty. It's a challenge, or maybe I just suck. One or the other. Is he gonna hit that swanton? I don't think so. I hit the... I never actually played. You never played it? I need a rematch. Nah, we need a rematch. I lost too quickly. And besides, Jeff Hardy attacked me earlier. We're not gonna do that. I didn't even do none of the paybacks. We need a rematch. Yeah. I haven't touched this game in a very long time. 1 second. Rematch. There we go. Not even for a second, bro. Yeah, I have not touched this game at all. I mean, you're going to have a good time. Do you have the DLC? Hopefully. I mean, again, I don't know how good your PC is, but there's a way to get the PC version that has all the DLC. One thing WWE games... such as that arena's sin, except for the stages, the ringside, unlike 2K14, every stadium had its own lighting. Yeah, that's what I said. It's a weird, so yeah, the modern game is based on like a filter that they use. They just I think it started in this game actually, the whole filter thing, and that's what their lighting is. But 14 had its own unique lighting and every arena felt great. Like WrestleMania 26 was like a perfect example how the lighting of that looked completely different than 27 and 28. Oh, you had a game on PS4 this. Hopefully you got the DLC. If you're a fan of, you know, Bobby Lashley, the War Raiders, EC3. But no, I do agree with you, Ahmed, on that one. I did not realize Jeff Hardy was going to be such a goddamn challenge. I got to be mindful of my reversals. So let me get out the ring real quick. And taunt. That's probably the smartest thing I could do. The second he catches me, it's over. Jeff and Ray were fun playing with this game. And yes, Ray was the DLC alongside Ronda Rousey. But I must stress, they are already in the game. They're just being petty with the whole pre-order bonus stuff. I am not a fan of that. MyCareer, yes, this is we're going to look into that. I love how the referee's stopping me. This MyCareer is arguably the best MyCareer that they've done since. And I include MyRides because essentially MyRides is just MyCareer renamed. In terms of storytelling, I feel like this was the last good one. 2K25 was close, don't get me wrong, but I feel like overall from beginning to end, because it's almost as if the people who made the game knew what a wrestling game was and what a wrestling story entails, and that's why the story was so good. It felt relatable, it felt grounded, not stupid paranormal stuff. Even though I know this kind of was, but it's just for Bray Wyatt and them. I know that sounds hypocritical, but it makes way more sense in this game than it does in the current games for what they do. And those MyRises, last I played, I mean, the male one sucked. The female one was like good, but it wasn't great. We'll be touching upon those two when we get to them. But yeah, the male one was like kind of bad. I wasn't a fan of it. I felt like they didn't like the first half of it. Essentially, it was the first half. The second and third acts were so stupid, and the story didn't pick up until the final act of it. While the women's throughout the whole one is a pretty solid story. But yeah, wasn't really a fan. Jeff Hardy is a classic. I mean, they know how valuable Jeff Hardy is to this goddamn game, which is why they have him as a season pass, which is so stupid because they knew. Oh, come on, he reversed it. Okay, so what button? Okay, maybe I'm misremembering this whole payback thing. I hold RB, then press LB. Okay, but I do have hold RB, press LB, boom. Got it. They made things so complicated. Jeff Hardy was great with the $1 million AJ. And we were actually going to talk about that next. Really? That's how it ends? I just squash Jeff. I just squash Jeff Hardy just like that. GOAT game, the game that carried for 4 years. Yes, it did. And we're going to talk all about that. Guess we'll do one more match to show off. I don't feel like I really had a chance to show off any of the paybacks. Except for that one. Any superstar requests you want me to do? I guess we can do like a triple. No, I think normal is. I mean, we'll just do a extreme rules. We'll do all. Yeah, I'm not a sexist. Why not use the new Lacey Evans? We'll choose DLC, Possum, and Power the Punch. And she'll be facing. Was this the worst year of wrestling or the next year? Well, this game came out in 2018, so I know people refer to 19 as the worst. I think they're over exaggerating. I feel like this is like biasness and revisionist history. The only reason why people say 2019 was the worst year is because AEW, that's when AEW first started. So anything that AEW did, they was considered awesome for the first year. Because keep in mind, for you to say 2019 was bad, you're basically saying in that same year when The Fiend debuted, that wasn't cool. When Kofi won the title, that wasn't cool. When Becky Lynch main event at WrestleMania, that wasn't cool. When Bayley turned heel, that wasn't cool. It's like it's okay to like. I'm not saying the entire year was great. Like obviously, what was it? Stomping Grounds was so stupid as a pay-per-view and whatnot. Then we had Goldberg. Like there were some bad. Don't get me wrong, but they are way over exaggerating what was bad. Because keep in mind, 2019 was also year NXT got its TV deal. They had the Survivor Series. The only like the last cool Survivor Series personally, Raw, SmackDown, and NXT. That was cool. I sound like Carlito. So this is the first wrestling game to have Matt Jarrett in a while. Well, minus DLC. Remember, they were in the previous game as DLC, which was so shameful. The most shameful DLC of all time with Matt and Jeff. Yeah, they're officially in the game, and this will be the last time Brock winning Money in the Bank. Yeah, Mustafa, I mean, well, let's think about it. Was that a good decision in hindsight? If Mustafa Ali would have won, like, let's just, this is where like retro's like, in hindsight, let's just pretend like Mustafa Ali would have won. Who would he have cashed in on? Because who were the two champions? Seth Rollins, which he would have eventually had to fight The Fiend. Mustafa Ali was going to lose the title anyway. And then on SmackDown, you had Kofi Kingston, and he was feuding with Randy Orton. And then Brock would have went over there and did something. So it's like, Mustafa Ali didn't really have a fighting chance against any of those guys. So I think in retro, I mean, should Mustafa Ali been in the match to begin with? Probably not. But again, it's Vince McMahon is all about the surprise factor. They just didn't want to reveal Brock Lesnar was going to be in the match. I think that's what it was. Creator, I like your wrestling knowledge and opinions. Let me ask you, what was your favorite year overall? Well, first of all, I appreciate that first half. Again, I'm kind of old. I'm 29. I like to think watching wrestling every year, I would have some type of knowledge. I would like to think I'm old enough. All right, first, I just want to point out again, Dana Brooke, she looked absolutely terrible in 2K17, but when 2K18 and 19, she arguably had the best female model. I was always a huge fan of Dana Brooke. I'm upset that she got released from WWE. I feel like she never got the chance on the main roster properly. I feel like if Triple H was in charge a little earlier, she would have got a better chance, because he was a huge fan of Dana Brooke and Emma. But once she got to the main roster, she just really never gotten that chance. I felt like she had a good look to her. She was, I mean, as crazy as it's going to sound, hot take, in terms of like look and build, I feel like she was Rhea Ripley before Rhea Ripley showed up in terms of her physique and whatnot. I feel like she had a look to her that was very unique for the roster at the time. They just never gave her a chance. And what was my favorite year overall? In terms, you see, I'm going to be biased. It was going to be during the Attitude Era, Ruthless Aggression era, simply because I grew up in that era. But in a realistic sense, my favorite era was probably arguably 2016 to 2017, because again, that was the restart of the brand split. I felt like creatively watching, because at that point in time, you have to remember, prior to that, you had Raw and SmackDown. The brand split ended. SmackDown was basically a nothing show. I think I pointed out earlier, the only good thing that happened on SmackDown in those years was like, I think one title change, well, two title changes. It was like the World Heavyweight title with Roberto Del Rio and Kalisto winning the United States title. So SmackDown was a nothing show. So to finally have two shows every week, not counting NXT, feel like two distinctly different shows, and they were putting on compelling television. Like the whole Bray Wyatt becoming WWE champion. Then on the Raw side, you had the whole rivalry between Kevin Owens and Chris Jericho. Some good stuff. Dolph Ziggler and Miz. 2016-17 was great. In terms of TV, not games. But yeah, so that's what I feel like 2016-17, I feel like was the, I'm not saying it was the last year WWE was really creative, but I feel like they were trying to compete with themselves. Remember, the Cruiserweight division. Oh my God. So many good memories of Cruiserweight division. I remember that debut. That was a Fatal 4-Way match. The Brian Kendrick made his return. Rich Swann. I'm drawing a blank. Who else was in it? Grand Metalik. That was my guy. Oh, and Cedric Alexander was in that as well. One thing I want 2K to work on is the length of the WrestleMania stage. Like, you can't tell me all the technological advances you make this stage longer and better. Modders do. Well, it's very simple. Do you see what those arenas they put in with the island and whatnot? That's where again, it's very simple. 2K could do whatever they want. For God's sakes, they put the War Games match in, which is a technical. Again, as much as I crap, I'm I'm gonna crap. So spoilers. I'm gonna crap on 2K23 a lot because 2K23 is essentially the second coming of 2K17 and 18 in terms of a nothing game except for one match type, which is war games. But that's a technological achievement. Having 2 rings simultaneously holding 8 people with a cage and having weapons in it, all running at 60 frames per second on the Xbox One and PS4 since it was still coming out on there. That's great. So when they actually put in effort in something, and that was their first rodeo, they could have half-assed it, but they didn't. If they actually put effort into it, they can do it. They just don't want to. Again, I think I forgot what recent. I'm gonna try to find it when we get to 2K25. It's like in terms of like the animation, they say it's gonna take time to make new animations. So make new animations. How about you stop focusing on the island in my faction and put shit together for a wrestling game? It's not that hard. Ez looks like ass in 2K. I mean, again, they stopped face scanning him. I think the last time they didn't face scan him until he officially came back in the Royal Rumble. So, I mean, I don't blame him that he looks like utter crap because, oh, this is actually the last game where the weapon wheel is exclusively to the Extreme Rules match. So just to point that out. So yeah, it's crazy to think it wasn't until 2K20 of all games. So one of the few things 2K20 got right is the weapon wheel, being in every match regardless. Yeah, it wasn't until 2K22. He was probably going to get scanned for 2K21, but you know, COVID, 2K20 disaster, all that good stuff. Dana Brooke is fired. Again, I was always a fan of Dana Brooke. It's always like the least people that you never expect, like that was never pushed. I was a huge fan of. Carmella's, I was always my top 3 women at the time. Becky Lynch, Kairi Sane, and Carmella. But this was before Bianca Belair showed up. And then I instantly became a Bianca Belair fan. But I was a huge fan of Carmella. And then you have Dana Brooke as well. I always feel like she had the look before even Rhea Ripley. Before they got their hands on Rhea Ripley, I feel like Dana Brooke could have been in that position, as crazy as it sounds. Was she a good wrestler? I mean, I'm not going to lie. No, not really. But she was definitely athletic. Sometimes you don't have to be a good wrestler. You just have to have the look, and it works out. I mean, look at Lacey Evans. Look how much they pushed her. I just don't understand why, Vince McMahon didn't give the same opportunity to Dana Brooke. Is because she was more athletic than Lacey Evans? I mean, I'm not trying to take anything away from Lacey Evans, but it's just like, that look that Dana Brooke has comes once in a lifetime. Luckily, I was able to get it Rhea Ripley, but it's like, come on. Hey, could think about who else looks like Rhea Ripley on the roster at this moment. I'm trying to really think for a second. I guess Lash Legend right now, and Jay Cargill, but during this period, it was literally just Dana Brooke. That's why I just never understood why I didn't give her the opportunity. Thoughts on this showcase? So, fun fact, I only played 1 match of this showcase for Daniel Bryan. I've never touched this showcase outside the first match. So we're going to be experiencing it in real time. I never actually played the showcase. This was during my era of YouTube when I just played Universe mode and call it a day. So I never really fully experienced the game. Like, I only played MyCareer recently just for that video that I did talking about Baron Blade for 2K19. That was the first time I ever did MyCareer. That's why when I played, I was like, wow, this MyCareer is actually great. I knew people always said it was good. This pin system sucks. My God. So how do I do her payback? 1 second. Hold and press LB to activate it, and then okay. Yeah, we're just gonna knock her out. 2003 for me, just something about that year. 2016, most recent time, my favorite. I mean, like I said, I could be biased. Like, the whole Ruthless Aggression era was great. They felt like distinct shows, but like, got her. Boom, and that should knock her out. Again, stuff like this debuted in this game. So hopefully that's it. But yeah, in terms of, I think but if we want to put it in that perspective, a certain era that was the most creative. I know people say the Attitude Era, but the Attitude Era, they were desperate. They were trying to beat WCW. Since they beat them, I feel like they got way more creative with the Ruthless Aggression, because you had to make 2 completely distinct shows that was worth watching, which Vince McMahon did with Raw and SmackDown. SmackDown had 2 primes during Ruthless Aggression era in 2016-18, but when they were in their prime, they freaking delivered so much than Raw wrestling wise. Oh, I will always say storyline wise, the Ruthless Aggression era was so much better in terms of Raw stories than SmackDown, but SmackDown killed them in wrestling. Like, you could not touch SmackDown with wrestling from top to bottom. The Cruiserweight division, anything evolving when Chris Benoit was on SmackDown, all that good stuff. They just could not be touched when it came to SmackDown. And again, with 2016 and 18, I agree. Like, you look at that roster on the SmackDown side, AJ Styles, John Cena, Bray Wyatt, Randy Orton, Dolph Ziggler, Dean Ambrose, Baron Corbin. Then once some call-ups came up, Bobby Roode, Shinsuke Nakamura. I'm drawing a blank. I think Apollo Crews was on that side as well. He put on some good matches like Kalisto. They and Rusev. They had a solid side on there. I feel like some people should have just stayed on one side, and then like they put over the New Day, and he had the Usos and tag team division. It was a solid show for 2 hours. Like, with the small roster that they had on SmackDown, they managed to make that 2 hours worth it. And again, with the women, if it wasn't for SmackDown, I don't think Becky Lynch would have never got that initial push, because their focus was clearly on Alexa Bliss and pushing her in general. And then you had Naomi, then Charlotte went over there and, you know, dominated everything. Asuka went over there. Carmella, the whole Money in the Bank thing with Carmella. I feel like Carmella is still the best Money in the Bank holder of all time for the women. No one's ever topped her because she was so smart about it. She was so smart about it. Like I said, Raw is more story-based. SmackDown managed to find sweet spots in their prime between world-class wrestling, emotional story. That's essentially, it's funny that you mentioned that. That's essentially what Ruthless Aggression SmackDown was this. And I feel like Triple H is a student of the game. No pun intended. He probably looked at SmackDown and he probably saw, yeah, SmackDown's killing us in terms of wrestling. They somehow put the storylines of wrestling together and it worked mixing wise. But Raw is pure storytelling pushing it. And that's how he booked NXT Black and Gold. Obviously, it was more wrestling than story, because stories were just super simple, but the wrestling made you care. So, yeah, that's when did the series start to fall off? After this. After this. You're talking about game. It was right after this game. This is it. We have peaks and valleys. 2K14 was the previous peak. 2K19 was the final peak. It's pretty. I'm not saying now, by no means. I'm not saying like 2K22 is a horrendous game. No, it's just there's like a level of like quality. It's a good game. It can stand by itself. You're gonna have a good time. But I feel like starting with 2K22, and they realized we're gonna get more into it. They realized when they fixed the formula, they made their new formula. Look at 2K22 to 2K26. What is really that different about the games? Really, just if you ask yourself, what is really that much different between 2K22 and 2K26? Outside of them adding stuff that they were taking out, like, you know, the chain wrestling, don't tell them to take that out. Like, there's nothing really new about the game, except for the arcade stupid nonsense, the combo breakers, doing combos as move like this is Tekken and Street Fighter. There's not that much different. It's like, again, starting with this game, it's not a wrestling game. It's a game that just so happens to have wrestlers in it, is the best way I can describe the 2K22 onward. The Jerry versus Super Crazy Mexican Death Match is a match I recommend everyone to watch. It's on the WWE Vault, and I'm sure you've seen it, Creator. But man, I actually have not seen it. It sounds like probably was on ECW. It sounded like it was on ECW. I actually did not see it because, as I said, back then when I was a kid and my family was poor, we only had network TV. So I don't think ECW was on network TV, and that's why I didn't watch it. SmackDown 2016 was so stacked. Rhino, Heath Slater. Like I said, the storylines, people who we thought would be jobbers forever made you care. That's what I mean. The roster depth. We're probably let's look at the 2006. We're gonna, well, not to go off. We'll go back in a little bit. We're gonna look at that 2016 roster to see what I'm talking about. Why SmackDown worked out so well. Basically everyone on the roster mattered. That's why, again, this is gonna. This is another signature Creator rant. Let me put on the new 5-man match that they added. The new 5-man match. I know it took them forever to add 5-man matches, so funny how that works. We're going to do Ricochet. I think he debuted in this game. Was he a DLC? I don't remember. I guess we'll look that up. Was he DLC? I genuinely do not remember, actually. Miz. Here's another. We're about to go on one of the signature creator rant. Aleister Black. 1 second, so we can just talk real quick and have this go in the background. Where was I? Oh, what's up, Will? And again, I'm sorry about your granddad, but may he rest in peace. May he rest in peace, though. As I said, the best thing to do, move forward. I'm pretty sure that's what your granddad. Just keep living your life every day as if it's your. I mean, I think one thing about, as great as it's gonna sound, I think one thing with when people that you love pass away, it really puts in perspective. Like, yeah, we only have so much time on this earth. Make it count. No matter. Sometimes, like, life sucks some days. Like, probably you don't want to go to work or whatnot. But just remember, you're alive. You wake up every morning, the sun comes out. That's more than a lot of other people can say. They don't know if their next day is their last day. So if you wake up every morning and you see the sun, you accomplish something. You already won the day, basically, if you see the sun come out the next day. But again, I apologize about your granddad. May you rest in peace. SmackDown. Who did that guy yelling in the crowd? What the hell? SmackDown Carmella was peak. The roster was, again, because everyone. I know it's gonna sound crazy, and again, people are gonna hate it. We're gonna talk about the releases again, but there's more. I feel like, if anything, having a small roster is not bad. Especially having a small roster is not bad because, especially when there's no live events or tours, you don't need 40 or 60 people on your goddamn roster. If there's the only people who are going to be showcased is like maybe 10 a week, what's the point of having a 40 people roster? Only 10 are ever going to be showcased. 60 people, I meant. Favorite ECW one night stand? Oh, 100% 2006. I know 2005 was good, but 2006, bro. Sabu and Rey Mysterio, I legit thought as a kid like they died with that spot. That when Rey Mysterio did that, no, when Sabu did that spot, that DDT with the table just hanging from the ring post and whatever, I thought they died. I know that was intentional, but like, good lord, I thought they died. That was peak stuff. 2K19 is my favorite wrestling game ever, alongside 2K14 and SmackDown's Raw 2006. Again, it stands up there. I mean, I think more people gave it a chance. That we're gonna look at the sales of this game. It's actually a compelling thing to look at. I meant to look at 2K18 sales yesterday, but that completely crossed my mind. It kind of shows again the state of the 2K games where it's currently at, but it just goes to show people gave it more of a chance after 2K20. We're gonna look at like the first month sales of that game. 2K20 looked like 18, but it was 100% different every way possible. Well, because for one, they updated the gameplay finally. What the hell is happening? Are y'all seeing this? What did I miss? Who's breaking up who? Okay, I mean, what? Let's try that again, shall we? God, I want to talk to you guys. We're gonna have this match play out and someone in the goddamn match. Anywho, I mean, no game's perfect, but that was actually funny. I'm not gonna lie. 2K23 was literally 2K22, and we're gonna talk about 2K23. Again, it's not as shameful as 17 and 18. They asked a simple question: can we sell you a $60 game or deluxe edition, which is like $120, instead of $150, with one match type and one brand new superstar? That's what they were banking on with 2K23. There is no difference between those 2K22 and 23. They made it work, but it was just, I like the animations in the background in the game. What animations in this one? You talking about the crowd, or why is it? I feel like this one of those crowd members that like WrestleMania 34 shirt looks so out of place. By the way, oh, what's up, Beans on Toast? Honestly, the only thing I bought was 2K23, 4, and 5 were for the showcase being seen in 4 years WrestleMania New Camp. And I'm pretty sure you was definitely disappointed with 2K24 showcase, as well as everyone else was. But yes, 2K25, I feel like it's like this. If you were brand new to the 2K series with the new game starting with 2K22, it's simple. Either buy 2K22 or 3, skip 24 completely. There's really no point. The showcase is not worth playing. And then go straight to 25 or 26, either or. If you are interested in playing the blood, it's all about if you like the showcase or not. There's zero. I know it sounds crazy. I do not recommend playing 2K24 at all. No, the 4 new match types aren't worth because they're in the next game. So you could just wait. They are not worth it. Let's see. Lone Wolf Baron Corbin, his best version was my guy, and I was so glad he brought it back for one night in NXT. Who was he facing at the time? Was it Carmelo Hayes? I think it was either Carmelo. Yeah, it was probably Carmelo Hayes. He brought it back that one gimmick. It was so good. So Baron Corbin is just wasted potential. Honest to God, he should have won the Universal title at least one time during 2019 when he was feuding with Seth Rollins. I felt like he would have been the perfect person to win that title against Seth. And then Brock could have cashed in, whatever, who would have cared. But at least have Baron Corbin win the title. For God's sake, they gave him Money in the Bank. They gave him Money in the Bank. Who the hell is yelling? Yeah, 60 Spectre Live felt like a dream. They had different camera angles. I know, that brief time. I know. People didn't forget that. When they were trying different camera angles, that one time. A TNA guy being the face of the brand, beating and pinning Cena 3 times, Rio and joining the wide. It was, again, it felt different. It was the in-ring work plus the stories as well. Raw was just more story-driven than anything, but it was the perfect blend. And again, pretty much, I feel like, no, if anything, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm pretty sure the SmackDown writer was the previous writer of NXT during that time. That's why it felt right. I think he was one of the writers that just got called up when SmackDown became its own brand. But he was previously a NXT writer, which made perfect sense why the story was so good. If anything, NXT, again, the fact that the writing was from NXT, if that was the case, I am like 90% sure that was the case. The fact, if that was the case, it goes to show NXT could have worked on TV if it was just given a proper chance. In my personal opinion, if that is the case, I'm like 9% sure that was the same writer from NXT. This is the last WWE game I bought. So you have not bought any of the new games. So, I mean, this game could hold you down. It has a good roster, 200 people to hold you down. And I feel like this roster is very interesting. We're never going to get a roster like this again. Because this is obviously the last roster. I mean, the last game before AEW came into existence. So this type of roster we have never had. Like, for example, Chris Jericho is yet to come back in a WWE game. There's so many people because of this game we're never going to see again. So 2K19 has a very unique roster. Did you watch the Tally versus Shayna Baszler boxing? You're talking about their underground match. Was it an underground match or boxing? I don't recall them. Was it Shayna Baszler? I don't actually recall that. Tally versus Shayna Baszler boxing. Did that happen on a random Raw? Was it the Raw Underground? I feel like, was it Raw Underground when that was a thing? His best ratings weekly shows the Attitude Era Raw. Yeah, and it was actually beating Raw at one point. That's what I said. It was crazy. It was actually beating Raw. That's what happened when you're in competition with yourself. It pushed people. And again, I feel like Vince killed it because he brought what killed the original SmackDown vision. I feel like he brought by taking Bray Wyatt. Bray Wyatt was perfect on SmackDown. He did not do well on Raw until he became the Fiend. He was perfectly. I know he had the brief thing with Matt Hardy and whatnot, but he was perfectly fine on SmackDown. Dean Ambrose as well. Alexa Bliss fit perfectly on Raw, but Dean Ambrose and Bray Wyatt, they weren't the main eventers. Like, because they were on SmackDown, they were main eventers. On Raw, you can't be a main eventer with Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins on the show. Unfortunately, it's not happening. Look at Finn Balor. Unfortunately, Finn Balor stayed in that middle card spot, despite him being the first Universal Champion, and he got injured. You get the idea. Yeah, 16 SmackDown. Everyone was booked well. Yep. Was that in the background? What's that in the background? Where? You talk about in my actual room, or what specifically? My TV? That'll be my TV, bookshelf, dresser, and then my computer. If that's what you're referring to, Kwame. It's a glitch in the game. Oh, the yelling. Let's see. Plus Braun Break. Like I said, I mean, yeah, it's not, but it was not worth it. Trust me. There's no point. Like I say, either play 2K22 or 23, completely skip 24, and then go with 25 or 26. I recommend completely skipping it. It's pointless because they had one job with 2K24 to have it have replay value, and they blew it. So I do like again, like Alistair was waiting, and then Once he saw him hit the finisher, he got up quickly. That's why I like these multi-man matches, stuff like that. It gave Miz and Roger Strong a chance to fight in the middle of the ring like that. Yeah, Spirit Squad came back, and it was so great. Again, SmackDown was so good, even if it was for a brief moment. Yes, in 2016, you had the Headbangers and the Spirit Squad on the same roster for that tournament. It was so good. It was so ridiculous. He signed them briefly, but it was so good. Whenever you're ever gonna get that, the contest yelling thing is annoying. Like, I have no idea, and I apologize. Maybe it's just for this live event arena. I have no idea. 2K19 had a roster we've never seen. Yep. We're going to go over the roster in a little bit. Their match at Joss. No, then I never. I know what Bloodsport's in, and I guess I didn't see it. I thought it was like on Raw Underground. I completely missed. Where can we watch it? I mean, if it's still up, sure. But since I've now talked to you guys, we don't have to see the rest of this. Okay, that yelling is annoying. We're going to take a quick detour, however, and talk about the $1 million challenge. Which, again, a perfect example of the online... Well, first of all, the real thing. So, to make a long story short, one of the promotions heading into 2K19 was the $1 million challenge. I believe you had to complete all of the 2K towers or do something with that, and then you would fight AJ Styles in a one-on-one match for $1 million. Essentially, the whole controversy of it was the person who won and made it to the finals was actually technically employed by WWE, so the whole thing was essentially rigged to begin with. I knew I was never going to touch it anyways. I didn't care, but yeah, that's basically what it was. But my biggest issue with all of this, the 2K Towers had a special 100, I believe, or 99 golden AJ Styles, which I never got. I didn't have time to complete it. So because it was connected to the online server, that's one superstar that I can never access ever in a game, which pisses me off because now that's the one incomplete superstar that I do not have in here. Perfect example of why DLC sucks, that you can't access it anymore. It was tied to the online server, which makes no sense now. Why is that particular wrestler tied to the online server? So yeah. And SmackDown had the best weekly ratings since you had to Raw. It did kill Raw for a week or two. You can get a save data that helps you get everything unlocked. Also supported by Steam. Yeah, but fortunately, fortunately they did delist it. But like I said, I did find someone, basically their kind heart, uploaded 2K15 to 23, I believe. Even though I have, so on Steam, 2K22 is where I converted to become a PC Master Race person. Jokes aside. So I have 2K22 to 26 on Steam. 2K20 is the last game I have on Xbox One. So we're going to be playing 2K20 on there. But I do plan on downloading all of them eventually on my PC when I had the time, which is obviously not during this event. What's up, Slade? Thanks for stopping by. But yeah, I just wanted to point out the... Oh, speaking of being supported by Steam and PC, we gotta talk about the modding community, because this game was heavily supported by mods due to the fact that 2K20 was a complete disaster. So we're on this website. It didn't look like this back then, but just want to showcase all the mods to bring more longevity into the game. Like, for example, yes, now as of April 23rd of last year, you have even the women's US titles that you can add to the game. William Regal's 2K24 port, so you can add people like LA Knight, a bunch of people, Scott Steiner, into the game thanks to the moderators. It was better than 17, 18 mod. Again, it's when the game was fixed, 2K29, and we're gonna actually look at it. I know it's funny. We're to keep talking about how bad 2K20 is, but the entire stream is basically we're looking at post-disaster 2K20. Now that it's actually functional, it's not really a bad game, but no one gave it a chance. I mean, I don't blame them, but it's just like, it's one of those things where like first impressions matter. And yeah, all this good stuff you can download. Again, I have no personal issues with mods. I just have an issue with the community, where I just don't like the idea of this being paywalled by Patreon, where it's like modding's supposed to be for free. Like ignoring that it's illegal to even do this because you don't own the license to any of these games. And if 2K wanted to stop them, they would, but it's just not worth the headache at the moment. But and we'll see with like 2K23 and 24 what I'm referring to. with all of that, as well as 2K25, but it's just like I just don't like the idea of a paywall. Again, if it was the donations was optional, people would donate, but it's just the fact that I got to pay money just to access all of this makes no sense, because modding is supposed to be for free and everyone. Or new devs got 2K18 engine and not 2K19 from weeks to make 2K22. Yeah, we're gonna talk about like how much of a short time frame they had. I mean, I will always respect them from like, that's a hard thing to do, to come out with a game like that. I mean, the results was crap. I'm not gonna like give them a pass on that, but it's like at least they tried on their first attempt. But it kind of goes to show, as I was gonna eventually allude to, where we could tell during this relationship between Visual Concepts and Yuke's who were actually making the game and who was just coasting along, just doing like the face scanning and the models or whatever, who's actually, you know, in the weeds making the game and code and engine. That was obviously Yuke's, because once they left, they had no idea what the hell to do. But yeah, I just wanted to briefly talk about the modding scene on that. 1 second. Oh, so there is one new thing. Wait a minute. Gotcha. We're gonna talk about the brand new updated Hell in a Cell. In my opinion, what killed the goddamn what killed Hell in a Cell. We'll do a triple threat, so I at least have time to talk about it. We're gonna talk about the new updated Hell in a Cell, because this is where they were trying to go in a realistic. Sure, why not use Billy K? They're trying to go in a realistic approach to make the Hell in a Cell accurate as possible, but this is like a perfect example of, if it's not broke, don't fix it. I was perfectly content with how the Hell in a Cell was, because the Hell in a Cell was pretty much the same when used in SmackDown vs. Raw 2011. Yuke's also didn't give 2K19 engine, only 2K18, so they ported 2K19, it was 2K18, which caused glitches. Like, one did not work well with the other because they didn't know how to seamlessly do it. But yeah, so this cell, again, it looks great. It looked better, the silver and gray, all that good stuff. The problem is now, yeah, ringside, the ringside area is very narrow. Thanks for reminding me how much crap it is. Yes, good stuff. Good stuff. Yes, the Riot Squad debut. So it's like, yes, they wanted to make everything more realistic and proportional to everything. So because of that, you basically are not doing anything on the outside before. And yes, this game, you actually could not take weapons. Like, this is stupid. 2K20, I believe you were able to get weapons from under the ring in the cell, but with this first new cell design, you can't even get weapons. So you're shit out of luck, pal. You can't even grab the steel step. So it's like, what are we doing here? This match was pretty much what used to be a very, yeah, you see, I'm trying to grab a weapon. You can't do it. Which used to be a very fun mode, doing whatever. You're shit out of luck. You can't even grab the steps. There's literally nothing you can do. Like, the cell looks great. Do not get me wrong. But it's like, come on. Y'all can't, no one cares about it realistically. I just want to play a good goddamn Hell in a Cell. Then I can vibe about the Riot Squad. Yeah, they debuted in this game. They should do a documentary on Here Comes the Pain 2000. Oh, Hell in a Cell 2019. I guess they should. Obviously, Seth Rollins should be the one to talk about it a lot, because people tend to talk about that part. You're absolutely right. What WWE video game is this? Well, first of all, Fat Gamer, I apologize for calling you that. 2357. This is 2K19, arguably the last good game in the current series. Is Nikki Bella in this game? Yes, she is, as well as Brie Bella. The Bellas pretty much stayed in the game until 2K22. They took him out for some reason, and they put him back in 2K. It's a weird, so fucking strict. Yeah, with this Hell in a Cell thing. But yeah, I don't know what the whole deal was with Bella. I think they were pissed at him at one point. Again, WWE can be petty at times. Do I think WWE 2K26 is good? Well, since it's the first time you're here, let me reverse this question for you. Do you think 2K26 is good? Actually, honestly, I don't think I've ever asked you guys that. For those who, I know some of you guys say, you haven't touched 2K26, but what are your actual thoughts on 2K20? I don't think, I know you asked me my opinion. That's why I'm going to wait a minute. I know you're new here, Fat Gamer. What is everyone's opinions about 2K26, since that is the current game in the series? So fucking strict. Yes, this Hell in a Cell is stupid. They ruined my favorite match type of all time. Like Triple H and Shawn Michaels, like at the time the definitive Hell in a Cell experience in terms of having a pure match inside the ring and make it be good at that time. Because I guess people felt like only Hell in a Cells are good if they're outside. But then you had like Undertaker and Brock Lesnar, Triple H, Shawn Michaels absolutely killing each other in this match while keeping it in the inside. Since WWE 2K22 is any of those games topping this, 2K26 is close. Bellator's Hall of Famers, actually they are in real life. But yeah, so to answer your question, Fat Gamer, with that note, Quameek. Wait, she won that? Damn, Liv Morgan, you suck. Here I am trying to narrate. God damn it. I guess we'll go to the showcase real quick to show off Bryan, and then we'll go to MyCareer. God damn it. You suck. Liv? But yeah, so with 2K26, again, it's a good game. I think it's the best gameplay we're going to get at this time because 2K is so reliant on this stupid combo system, but it's fine. They added a lot of simulation stuff, which I like. It's just their priorities, and a lot of my frustration with 2K26 we'll talk about in the finale of this event with 2K25. I love that Liv was still rolling. That was a glitch right there. But it worked out. My frustration with 2K26 was pretty much, I'm going to tell you with 2K25, is just their priorities are so messed up with My Faction the Island. If My Faction the Island did not exist, we'd be possibly looking at Here Comes the Pain levels. I'd say possibly. We'd possibly looking at Here Comes the Pain levels of good WWE games. If they would just get their head out their ass and stop focusing on that. You can sell millions of copies and make money without doing the way they're doing it. Again, if you want to sell the alternate tires, just put them on a marketplace. It's not like, I feel like that they have this weird role and idea like, oh, we don't want to pretend like we just want money from, so we have to pretend like it's a game. It's all about a game. Yeah, like this collectible card game. You're actually getting something out of it. No, just sell me the goddamn alternate tires, bro. You're wasting my life. I'm 29 years old. I do not have time to spend hours upon hours in this stupid card game that shouldn't even be in a wrestling game to begin with. Wasting my goddamn time. Don't even get me started on the goddamn island. Just sell the alternate tires and just move on. Put them like $2 to $5 a piece, depending on who it is. Like obviously, when like Roman Reigns $5, I know don't give me any idea, but I rather think about it. Time is money, right? I'd rather just spend $5 and move on with my life than waste 20 hours of my life grinding through the game and then rolling opening card backs, hoping I get that Persona card. It's like, for fuck's sake, just sell it to me on the marketplace. I know some of them do, but I'm talking about all of them. Just have a pure marketplace with these alternate tire personas and just call it a day. Sorry about that rant, guy. I like the graphics of 2K20. Again, it looks great. It's gonna look, ever since the leap to 2K22, it looks great. The game looks great and the gameplay is actually solid. But that's it. The game is so hollow. It's void of anything because their focus is not on wrestling. I know that sounds crazy. When they made a wrestling game that's not focused on wrestling. So we're gonna look at the showcase. Actually, we're gonna look at the 2K Towers real quick. Speaking of My Faction and the Island, this is a good alternative to that. Maybe Ukes was on to something that they did not fully decide to look into when Visual Concepts took over. Your thoughts on the AJ storyline between Bryan and CM Punk? I thought it was fun. I don't think Kane was really needed. I think Kane was just there to eat the pin. I feel like, but I thought the storyline, you know what's funny? Vince only made that storyline because because he didn't think CM Punk and Daniel Bryan would be a draw in of itself. So he had to have some type of mix to it. So think about Vince McMahon's mindset back then, Kwame. He really thought the idea of Daniel Bryan and CM Punk fighting one-on-one was not enough of a draw. So he had to add a girl into the mix. I mean, it is what it is, but it's just like the idea that he thought, I guess he didn't think the internet fans had no idea about the people who were watching had no idea about the history of Daniel Bryan and CM Punk. And probably for the most part they did, but that was literally the reason why they only had AJ. He just didn't think no one cared about a pure CM Punk and Daniel Bryan match by itself. Game like previous years, but the Ragdoll phase is carrying the game. That's why I said 2K26. It reminds me of SmackDown Raw 2011, and I would even argue it's slightly better on the physics department because it's just so much more bigger. The scope of it. It's again the game is good. I don't think anyone, as much as people are complaining, they can never deny the game's good. And yes, I'm a huge fan of the purple stamina bar. I know people hate it. I think it works for a simulation aspect because no, you're not going to reverse 20 moves like this is AEW. You're only going to have a set amount of time to do it, and then you got to think about it for the next time you're going to reverse. I like that. I didn't like the fact with 2K22 to 25 where you pretty much reverse anything and call it a day. It's so stupid. But yeah, so real quick, I'm gonna get the rest of you guys. The 2K tower is essentially, again, you complete a set amount of match and you get some points. Again, all this leading up to the Golden AJ Styles thing, which I can't get. But I feel like if they just do this, right? We'll just do, I don't know. We'll just do Rey Mysterio real quick. Which goes to show, by the way, this kind of goes to show what I mean with the whole pre-order DLC. The fact that Ronda and Rey are here. I know they added these towers after the fact, but the point is the fact that they already had dedicated towers for them in the game because like they were already on disc. That's kind of the point in all of this. They were already on goddamn disc. If you notice, outside of them, everyone else, there's no DL. Like you don't see EC3. I could be wrong. You don't see EC3 or the War Raiders a part of this because it's almost as if they were already part of the game, but they just purposely took them out because they're assholes. Because they're assholes. With the whole pre-order bonus crap. But we're just going to do Rey Mysterio real quick. There, he'll have him fight Batista. What even is Blood Sports? It's essentially, can someone else explain Blood Sports? I don't think I'm going to do it justice. It's like kind of like an underground wrestling thing. They're just more, I think they're more knockout than anything else. Correct me if I'm wrong. I always use a women's referee for Hawk Championships for his animation at the end. I don't know his animation. Does he like carrier or something? Does he pick her up or something? For Hawk's Championship? Yeah, explain that to me, Kwame. Who's your favorite wrestler currently right now? Currently. Well, CM Punk has always been a favorite of mine. He's not in my top 5, but he's always been my favorite. But in terms of newer superstars, I mean, we got a solid group. I mean, Obafemi's great. I love Ethan Page and Ricky Saints because they're character-wise. I think they're great. I feel like the other promotion that they were in at the time, AEW, they really didn't give them a chance. And now it kind of goes to show, as long as you give people a character and a chance, anyone can excel. Like Ethan Page and Ricky Saints were pretty much the bottom of the barrel of AEW, but now they're pretty much considered as main eventers to a certain extent. But they were main eventers in NXT, and now they just appeared on the main roster. So we'll see how it goes. It's too early to call them for it, but I feel like they have unfortunately, they have a better shot than the people who got released, like Kairi Sane and Motor City Machine Guns. But that's just the environment it is. The anger management storyline. So, but again, yeah, we got Team Hell No out of it. And again, people didn't like it at first, but the team was great. They made it all the way to WrestleMania with the titles. So you can't, sometimes odd pairings work. The perfect quintessential example was Cesaro and Sheamus. No one would have ever thought those two being a team would have been one of the greatest teams in the modern era. A makeshift team like that. And they made it work. If they would give them more time, Fraxium, Nathan Frazier, and Axiom was do great, but they just won't give them a chance. It's just, again, not enough time. I know they were in NXT, but unfortunately, they are in a... People like Nathan Frazier and Axiom are perfect examples of why they kind of need to bring live events back, because I'm not saying they're not connecting with the crowd. Once they do their spots and whatever, they will, but if they just give them a chance to just showcase more of their stuff on a 2 to 3 day a week basis at live events, I know they're not profitable, but it's just like those are perfect examples of people who need live events. Not because like they're not developed, but they just need to, the crowd needs to care more about them, because for the limited time that they've been given, they just don't have enough time to interact with the crowd. Just like Batista's theme. So, oh yeah, I always love I Walk Alone. And especially, again, his heel run briefly where the spotlight was on him. It was great. Throw the referee out the ring. Throws the referee out the ring. Oh, he does. Oh, you talk about NWO Hawk. Then I know exactly what you're talking about. You're talking NWO Hawk. Oh, that's funny. What about Javon? Oh, Javon Evans is freaking amazing. I got a KO Batista? Jesus, how the hell am I supposed to do that? Luckily, it's Extreme Rules. And I got him out. All right. How the hell am I supposed to do that? Javon Evans is freaking great. I don't know if you guys saw, what was it? NXT Heat Wave, him and Obafemi. Oh my God. They made you believe for 1 second Javon Evans was about to do the impossible. I know Ricky Saints did it the following month and he beat Oba. But I legit thought, okay, Javon's getting that title. And I think even Shawn Michaels said, like, yeah, they were about to build him, but then Triple H took him. Triple H took him. I legit thought Javon Evans was about to win the NXT title from Oba back then. Like, that match was incredible. And Javon Evans is great. He's young. He's great. That's why it's like, if you haven't noticed, again, I'm not trying to be that guy. Look at the people who they released. And I want you to really look at their ages. It's not like they released 20-year-olds. They looked at they pretty much released people. If you look at the Aleister Blacks world, I love Aleister Black. Do not get me wrong. I love the Motor City Machine Guns. Motor City Machine Guns are in their 40s. Aleister Black, I believe, is about to hit 40. The New Day are in their 40s. Those people, they need to make room for the newer generation. And it is what it is. Like, they're gonna eventually, you're always gonna have in life and with your job, they're always gonna hire anytime a new employee independent contractor in this instance gets hired, you're basically are training your replacement. It's just a matter of time. I walk him out into the danger. It was a good song. I liked his previous instrumental version with Evolution was good too. But yes, when they gave him his full music with I Walk Alone, that's what really made the Batista character. It's in his 50s. But yeah, who's selling outside of, maybe they're trying to make Penta again. There's a certain group of people I like to call legacy people in the company where they can't release them no matter what. Like Rey Mysterio is one of those guys. They're never going to release Rey Mysterio. I could prove me wrong. I think they learn of R-Truth. Some people you just can't let go. But I think with like the New Day and unfortunately Kyrie and Motor City Machine Guns, they don't, basically life moves on without them. Those 2 weeks that R-Truth was gone, life was not moving on. So they were forced to bring it. But that's my point. It's about connecting with the crowd. No offense to Aleister Black. I love him to death. And even the Wyatts. I love Uncle Howdy. I love Bray Wyatt. Still do. May he rest in peace. Bray Wyatt connected with the crowd. Uncle Howdy just suffered the fact that the group was meant to have Bray Wyatt in it. And maybe if they would have added Alexa Bliss, I don't know why Triple H didn't add her in the group. He was originally, but obviously plans change. And that's that's unfortunately caused the Wyatt 6 to, they did all they could with the Wyatts. So, I like that. How am I supposed to KO this guy? Because Rey Mysterio's, Rey Mysterio's finisher, the Frog Splash, Dragon Run. I guess. Ugh. I'll try. But yeah, Rey Mysterio, they're never gonna let him go. Same thing with Natalya. You would think, now again, this is no offense. I'm not hating. I actually love Natalya. I think she's one of the best pure women's wrestlers. I know she's like so underrated, Natalya, but like she does nothing. But she's such a, she has value to the company because she could essentially mentor the next group of women that come up, which I'm assuming is what she's doing anyway. But like those people, they're never gonna get rid of unless they want to leave. Certain people, unless they want to leave, they're not gonna get rid of them. Maybe if I use a weapon, that should knock down big old Dave. Brother, this game is my favorite. Even though the servers are down, I still play it. A lot of people still come back to this game. If you want, because this is the last like pure simulation. What 2K was trying to achieve when it first started with 2K15, their full vision of it was this game. Even though this was their last game under Ukes, with Ukes, this was the game. The simulation. If you want a simulation WWE game, this is the game to play. Unfortunately, the current one is a blend of arcade and simulation. It's fine for what it is, but it's not this. In terms of back and forth, like actually, this is like the closest you're gonna get to an actual wrestling match. I know that sounds crazy. It's technically this game because part of it, I think the biggest issue that 2K22 still has, that 2K26 has, which is mind-boggling, is why do I have to collar an elbow tie-up just to hit a suplex? That's my issue. In 2026, why do I have, like, you see how I'm doing moves without holding them? Like, watch this. I'm going to pick him up. This is going to look crazy, right? Watch this. Oh, that's because he's not in a groggy state, but watch this. As I was saying, he just does the move. You're not in a groggy state. When he's in a groggy state, you should do the move. Not every move needs to be a collar and elbow tie-up. Remember Ray versus Eddie in the ladder match? Yes, the custody of Dominic. So good. So good. Peakness of the Ruthless Aggression era. So great. I miss SmackDown. We all do. It was a good era. It was a good era. I mean, there was one of the Vince McMahon is not absolve of blame. I will never forgive him for ruining sanity on the main roster. Again, perfect example, just people just don't work on the main roster. But that was perfect example of Vince never giving him a chance. They screwed over sanity. It's not like they didn't connect with the crowd. You ruined their whole debut. Like, you just ruined it. Like, hey, sanity. Talk about sanity. A what if team that never got a freaking chance. They, first of all, sanity felt like they were better off in Raw because they're more characters than wrestlers. So I felt like they would have been way more better on Raw anyway. 3 hours, you have enough time to tell their story. Like, Andrade on SmackDown, perfectly fine. Like, I have no issue with Andrade being on SmackDown, but like, sanity, y'all screwed up on that one. And then one by one, they all got released. I mean, luckily, what was it, Big Dane, Damo, Killian Dane? I knew I was talking about his Twitter name. Luckily, he got sent back to NXT to have one brief good run on there. They gave him at least some type of a good run on NXT when they sent him back down there. But yeah, Eric Young and Alexander Wolf. I mean, Alexander Wolf was part of Imperium for a little bit. So it's like, it's pretty much, actually, it's funny. Only really, essentially, Eric Young got the shaft. At least Alexander Wolf and Killian Dane briefly went back to NXT and NXT UK to flourish a little bit. And then one by one, they all got released. Thoughts on the Dragon Ball Z Broly 4 movie? Oh, we're talking about Dragon Ball Z. Well, first off, what's everyone's favorite Dragon Ball Z character? I know that had nothing to do with wrestling, but why not? Obviously, Vegeta, my GOAT. No one ever touches it. Like, that's my GOAT right there, Vegeta. No matter how much they currently make him look like a joke nowadays, that's my GOAT. In terms of the Broly movies, I will always be a fan of the original Legendary Super Saiyan movie because those movies back then, the American releases especially, I'm going to lose this match. I don't know how I'm supposed to KO Batista with my finishers. I can try. Because the American soundtrack, the heavy metal and whatnot, it fit the era so perfectly for Dragon Ball Z. It's not funny. Again, I have no issue with the Japanese, but I don't know what the hell that was. I have no issue with the Japanese soundtrack, but there's something about that English soundtrack, the rock music playing during Broly's transformation, thing of beauty. But if I had to rank them, Broly Legendary Super Saiyan, Broly from Super, the Broly movie in Super, Broly's Second Coming, and then obviously Bio Broly. I don't know what the hell Bio Broly was. It was just a perfect example of them. They tried to get as much as they could out of Broly because he was such a popular person. At least I didn't get KO'd. But yeah, I'm with you. I'm with the air conditioning on. It is kind of hot where I live. Hello, Mega Sweets 26. Thanks for stopping by. I think you're new here. 25-day event. Shameless plug real quick. 25-day event. How we got to 2K26. We're currently on 2K19. This match has been overstayed its welcome. I'm going to try to KO Batista. If it doesn't work, if it doesn't work, I'm just going to quit out. We're going to go to check out Showcase. That's exactly what we're going to do right now, actually. We're just going to check out Showcase instead. But I feel like they should bring back this tower thing, but the one thing I talked to a few people who like love my faction, who makes it their entire identity. I'm just trying to understand them. The one thing with my faction is like they say they like the challenge. I feel like this is a challenge. This is giving me a challenge, or maybe I just suck. Who knows? Just bring this back. Like the card game is so unnecessary. You're supposed to be my friend. Yes, Batista. Such a good thing. His heel turn. It was wacky at first, but him being a narcissist near the end, I think it made it work, personally. So, Daniel Bryan, all that good stuff. Like I said, I only completed one match, but I guess apparently I can't unlock the next one, even though it says completed. So strange. Can I skip?
Right after
Nope. Not yet. Dave. I'm sorry, Dave. Please, Dave, you're hurting me. Oh my God, it's so peak. It's so peak. He said, "Please, Dave, you're hurting me." I remember it clear as day. Again, people talk about the PG, like this was some good stuff. It makes me laugh, chuckle a little. Oh man, good times, good times. What was your favorite role from what was that 2010? No, 2000. That was 2009. That's when they was doing the gimmick pay-per-views and whatnot. There we go. I just had to wait. It took a minute for me to skip it. Oh, I'm over here. Daniel Bryan. Yes, this is where they were fighting on Velocity. One of the few games to have Velocity in the modern era is this game. And they also need to bring back limb targeting. I know they have like a half-ass one in the current game. They definitely need to bring back limb targeting. Makes it like simple stuff like that. That's what made WWE 12 great. They need to bring back limb targeting, in just my opinion. They like 100% need to bring it back. I try to perform a grapple, but Cena's not letting me. Need to bring back Saturday Morning Slam. All right, I won't go that far. Although it's funny because again, it was airing out of like the Vortex or whatever. It was an interesting time. It was they were wacky. It's just of course you couldn't hit him in the head. John wanted to wear the banana pants. I don't think John Cena really knew who he was back then. I think Daniel Bryan's commentating right here, or it's probably the commentators. No. It's actually just the commentators, which is probably, yes, Corey Graves. As you know, Corey Graves, Michael Cole, and Byron Saxton was commentating this match. Again, simple stuff like that kind of irritates because, again, back in the day, under THQ at least, they was more accurate. They did it with Stone Cold. They had JR. It's just simple stuff like that. I know JR wasn't part of all those matches, but like you need someone else here. I know they couldn't get Taz, but still, come on. I had a softball. I had to be an umpire. Oh, how was that, Sarah? And thanks for stopping by. That was John Cena's first time Velocity. Really? What year was this, by the way? Yeah, what year was this? I actually do not remember. I have no recollection of this, damage. To be fair, though, I didn't probably see any of these people as stars back then. Can I get up, Cena? Jesus. Can I at least get up? Whew. There we go. Now we're about to cook. I mean, I'm glad. Like, I mean, it's just there. My issue with this showcase and moving forward is, again, they're using people that were still. I get like Daniel Bryan coming back from neck surgery, returning to the ring. I get that. It's a feel good moment for the showcase. I understand that. Great, fan freaking tastic. But the thing is, his career is not over. The whole point of the showcase is supposed to be a conclusion of something. Daniel Bryan's story did not conclude at WrestleMania 34, so it's like we're just having shits and giggles here for no reason. Where it's like Stone Cold felt complete. It felt like the ending of an actual movie you were watching when playing through the showcase. Same thing with the rivalries in 2K15. It's just, that's like my issue with the showcase is like, yes, you wanted to have an excuse to get all the old stuff in, but you have certain people you can pick or rivalries. Like, imagine they did the Evasion. I know it's gonna sound crazy. They could technically do the Evasion story. I know I don't think anyone wants to play as Sean Stasiak back then, but it's just simple stuff like that. That's the Seth Rollins pants. You know what? I could see it. The color, yes, I could actually see it. They were just wearing anything back in the day. Oh, this was 2003. John Cena on 2003 Velocity. Even though at this point he was I guess he must have, again, still trying to find himself. At this time, he should have been like fighting the likes of Brock Lesnar and whatnot. So that's actually interesting that he put him on Velocity. I mean, at this time, they were trying to make Velocity a any person type of show that anyone could show up. Essentially, they did eventually make it develop, like essentially the lower cards, developmental. There we go. Jesus. All this just to do cover John Cena for the pin. I guess I will unlock. Is this it? One? No. And y'all knew it wasn't it. Irish whip John Cena into the corner. What corner? At least they don't be specific. What's your thoughts on Braun Breaker? I think he's great. The guy needs to slow down though. He's quick. I get that's his gimmick, but sometimes you don't have to do everything all the time. Like, I get that he's supposed to be quick. He's supposed to be like superhuman, the stuff that he does. But like, he gets, like, think about that injury. He got injured simply because he tore something, like throwing the table and whatnot, by doing a rampage on the outside. He's got to slow down. He's too young. Like, he has to. Is this all physical or download? This is actually the digital version of 2K19. So 2K18 and 19 are the only ones that I have, that I own digitally. I guess I might just, I'm gonna lose, ain't I? Because that stupid pin system, I'm gonna lose. I can't even Irish whip the guy. There we go. But yeah, Braun Breaker, he's obviously the future, and they're positioning him as such. He's young, he still got it, but he needs to slow the hell down. Like, I'm assuming Seth's gonna put him over. I can't. I love this generic SmackDown Here Comes the Pain music. That was his song? That's funny as hell. I did not realize that. One of the generic things on SmackDown Here Comes the Pain is Braun Breaker injured himself. Yeah, he did. When he was doing that rampage, I forgot specifically what it was about. He was doing a rampage thing. Right, breaks stuff and he announced it, and he tore. I forgot what he tore, and that's why he was out for a few months. He missed WrestleMania. It was supposed to be him and Seth Rollins at WrestleMania, but it didn't end up happening. He needs to calm the hell down. That's one thing. It's essentially he needs to calm the hell down. I get that. Yeah, that's just gimmick intensity, but there's ways of going about it. So I guess if we see NXT, we are wild and young. The good old times. Ah, yes, NXT. Wild and young. Bring back so much memories. All right, so before we get to my player, which is my career, I just want to show off universe mode because there are some minor stuff to talk about. Again, I feel like this kind of killed off, is also injured. The whole Vision was cursed. It's funny. A year ago, when the Vision first started, you had Seth, Braun, and Bronson. And now a year later, it's Braun, Austin Theory, and Logan Paul. So essentially, none of the people who initially started with the group, Seth's going is like, so. I mean, well, now he's facing it against that. It was going to end up being that anyway, but it's like, Jesus Christ, how much stuff could change in a year. So yes, 205 Live, when they were taken seriously, had its own card and whatnot. So yeah, SmackDown, NXT, the takeovers, good stuff. So essentially, one of the newest things about it, besides like the rivalries and like the intensities, the ranking system has been adjusted. The Money in the Banks are the big thing. Like, for example, the yes, I downloaded the Cruiserweight Tag Team titles. Good times. Because they had a sketch of what the tag team titles would have been. Again, at one point, Vince McMahon cared about the Cruiserweights. How do I show the rankings? So yes, power rankings is still a thing. And yes, the Money in the Bank briefcase is essentially the newest thing about it, where you can cash it in. It was considered like a championship, and because of that, they added an extra 2 slots, which is the Money in the Bank men's and women's. So there's that, and then, but unfortunately, this killed. But you could actually vacate this slot and add actual championship instead. So if you want to add the hardcore title and give it to Ada English, you can do that. But essentially, this game killed the ranking system that they had. Again, Ukes, I praise Ukes, but they sometimes make questionable stuff. So, like, unfortunately, everyone is tied to one ranking system. Now, the thing is, this is why this doesn't make any sense. We are wild and young, and we just begun Dean Ambrose's final game ever. Yes, unfortunately. Don't remind me. So, again, with this, right? I love how they have him in the Intercontinental Championship division, too. That kind of sucks. He's in the Intercontinental Championship division, isn't he? Yes, he is, and he's. Oh, is he even ranked? Yep, he's 7th. That Jesus Christ. This is like I said, this roster is very like we're never gonna see this roster again. People like Chris Jericho and Ambrose gone because of AEW. So this roster is so unique. But yeah, they killed off the ranking system. So I mean, like I said, some stuff just doesn't make any sense to me. In the grand scheme of things, the ranking system never mattered because you can always just pick whoever you want. It was just the flow, like the idea. You don't have to think in your head. The ranking system did it for you. Okay, this is person next in line for the title. Now they're all isolated. So now, like, if Roman Reigns, like, say Braun Strowman, right? He's ranked 2nd right now to Universal title. He's probably going to rank like 4th or 5th for Intercontinental. But then he can build himself up. So if he can't get past Brock, at least he builds himself up the Intercontinental title. He can face Seth. Like, you know, in real life wrestling, you're not stuck in a division retroactively, but it's just this always left the bad taste in my mouth. I know it doesn't really matter. You could just put whoever you want with whoever you want, but it's just like, come on. Yes, Jason Jordan. I love the idea of Jason Jordan being in contention for the Universal title. I mean, Vince McMahon was pushing him, don't get me wrong, but it's like the idea of that is absolutely hilarious to me. And yes, this was the actions where you can announce your cash in, all that good stuff. So yeah, that was essentially this was the era of Universe Mode where basically everything was the minimal drops of updates in Universe Mode. That was essentially it, just adding a few more, just 2 more slots in the Money in the Bank thing. They didn't add more matches until ironically 2K20, so that was it. So if we just simulate let's just say the SummerSlam, right? Everyone likes SummerSlam. Let's see what's happening. And his model was outdated because during his time, by the time, completely outdated model. By the time this game came out, he was bald and he was already a heel. By the time this game came out, a lot of stuff was outdated. So I mean, I can never fault developers for that, but it is what it is. Shit happens. But to think this was the final game, I know we never got bald Dean Ambrose in a WWE video game because of that. So yeah, you're absolutely right on that one. Jesus Christ, it's taking forever. I mean, that's what happens. You have you have 4 shows to book. I'm just curious. Come on, we're almost there. I was wondering if they still had like the intensities. Or they took that out already. That was like a one-time thing. I think 2K20 is not there anymore. Or it might be. I don't think it's there anymore in 2K20. And they completely took it out by the time 2K22 came out. But this is where, like, in terms of adding new stuff, Universe Mode kind of stopped right here. It was just slowly drip feeding, like, doubling the matches and whatnot. Let's see. Rivalries. Okay, still had it. So, okay, cool. Potential rivalries and all that stuff. SmackDown, NXT 205 Live. So yeah, fun times, and that's pretty much it. Again, the aesthetic, the presentation stuff I like. It's just I stopped being a fan of Universe Mode once they the United States title. Everyone's in a rivalry, so everything feels like a big deal. A fatal 4-way Universal Championship match at SummerSlam, which is kind of accurate how it was in real life a year ago. So at least they damn, John Cena's okay. Actually, let's look at this card. Johnny versus Shinsuke, crazy. Mandy versus Asuka, if it was only for the title. Drew McIntyre versus Bobby Roode, okay. Victor and Connor versus Matt and Bray. Alexa versus Nia. John Cena versus AJ for the title in the universe. Like this is a stacked card. I'm not gonna lie. This is actually a very stacked card. For what it's worth, this is actually not a bad card at all, huh? They might have, the AI kind of cooked with this one, as the kids would say. But I mean, that's pretty much the extent of Universe Mode. There's not much to it. You have your Raw brand. Everyone had a generic pose. SmackDown, NXT, 205 Live. 205 Live roster. Never Yeah, the 205 Live roster. What a time. Weird how they have Tyler Bate in here, even though I think he only wrestled one time and they just classified him as 205 Live star, even though NXT UK is in this game. But who cares? Oh, Mustafa Ali is the champion. That's funny. Yeah, that's the Extent of Universe mode. We're going to take a quick detour to look at, where are we at? This tweet, because again, we were talking about the servers, how there's no online servers. Well, again, at the time, with 2K20 being a disaster, they extended the life of the servers, so it lasted for, as I forgot who mentioned it, 4 years. 4 years, almost 4 years. If it had made to October of 2022, it would have been 4 years. But the second 2K22 came out, they finally sunsetted 2K19 and 20 servers. So it was so you had plenty of time to essentially play online and has much community creation content, because trust me, no one was creating content for 2K20. So 2K19, you're always gonna get up-to-date content for 2K20. Just want to point that out. Yeah, so that was the end of an error there. And the sales of this game, so shockingly, the sales of 2K19, despite it being a very well-received game, were not as good as you probably thought they would be. So for its first week of sales, it was the worst ranked in the entire series under 2K. So as you can see, the ranking goes as follows: 15, 16, 17, 18, 14, and then 19. So yes, 14, which technically was a THQ game, beat 2K19 in its first week in sales. So, I mean, you can essentially see that it wasn't that much of a dip from 15 to 16. But remember when I said 17 and 18 just blended into each other? Look how much that drop is. Almost a 100,000 drop in a year. And then a little less than that. And kind of like 14, they were pretty much the same, and only a little bit with 18 to 19. But it's like that dip from 16 to 17, kind of like, when I say it felt like the same game, I guess I wasn't the only one who thought that, because people did not buy almost 100,000 people did not buy 2K17. I guess when they looked at it, it's like, this is essentially the same game. So customers are not dumb. Even, I mean, the internet was obviously a big back then, and I make it seem like this is our archaic internet, but people have eyes. They can see, like, yes, 2K17 and 16 are practically the same minus the roster update. So they did not think AJ Styles of 4 Horsewomen was worth buying, which I don't blame them. And you can just see it right there in the sales. Cut content for 2K19, actually not much, essentially. Which, I mean, I want to bring this up: the inaccessible MyCareer cutscenes, which we're gonna get to MyCareer in a second. There's cutscenes that you could use in create a video and just character swap people. You could use it in the create a video, and that's what I wish they would bring back. Imagine you have access to all the My Rides cutscenes and create a video. That would be cool, but that would require them to actually care, which I know they don't, because that's not their priority. DLC for 2K19. It was an interesting pack. First off, again, the pre-order, Rey Mysterio, Ronda Rousey. They were already in the goddamn game, but they were already in the game. So yeah, if you didn't get them, you're kind of screwed. The Woo edition pack, I gotta check. Do I have this? I might be pissed if I don't have Undertaker 02 and whatnot. I think I saw Ricky Steamboat, so maybe I do, but I gotta double check on that. Dusty Rhodes, because it was the Ric Flair special edition. Dusty Rhodes, Randy Savage, Ric Flair, Ricky Steamboat, Roddy Piper, Undertaker 02. And then the actual DLC that you're waiting for, you had the Rising Stars, Candice LeRae, Dakota Kai, Lacey Evans, Leo Rush, which is his first. And was he in 2K20? I genuinely do not remember that. If he was, I'm shocked. No, he was only in 2K19. I knew I wasn't crazy. For some reason, they put him in 2K20. He must have had a lot of heat on him back then, because I know he reappeared, and he must have really got hated for that brief period of time before he showed up in NXT again, winning the Cruiserweight title. So this was his first and only appearance in a WWE game. Maria Kanellis, Mike Kanellis, and then you have Ricochet, who made his debut in this game. Yes, people like Candice LeRae, Dakota Kai, and Ricochet. They came out in November. No, actually, no, the Titans pack came out in November. This came out in January, so I don't know why the order is mixed up. The Titans pack, obviously, Highly anticipated return of Bobby Lashley. EC3, who was, yes, at a time popular in WWE before he got ruined on the main roster. And then the War Raiders, when they were known as Hanson and Rowe instead of Ivar and Eric. Those were good times. Good times. New moves, 50 moves. Yes, when he used to sell moves by themselves. The Accelerator, which cost $5. I remember it used to cost $1 just to unlock everything. The MyPlayer Kickstarter, all that good stuff. $30. You got about 10. I got like 11 superstars, I think. All of this for about $30. So it was one of the last good DLCs, because 2K20, their DLC lineup is quite the spectacle. We're gonna look at that tomorrow. Yes, I do not have 2K20 DLC outside of the Fiend, the bump in the nights. I'm telling you that right now. I only had the Fiend because I knew I needed to get the Fiend. So we're gonna look at the roster. Again, the roster. This is a end of an era roster. Adam Cole, Aiden English, AJ Styles. The AJ Styles gold that I do not have. Akeem, no. Razor and Akeem, right? Akeem and Razor. Akira Tozawa, Aleister Black, Alexa Bliss, Alexander Wolf, Alicia Fox, Almas, Blaze, Andre the Giant, Angelo Dawkins. Yes, Street Profits made their debut in this game. Apollo Crews, Avari Davari. A lot of 205 superstars made their debut in this game that was in 2K18. Asuka, Bam Bam Bigelow, Baron Corbin, Baron Blade finally as a actual regular playable superstar. Even though, yeah, he's older and fatter. Batista 10, which makes it is what it is. Bailey, Becky Lynch, Beth Phoenix, Bianca Belair made her debut. Big Boss Man, Big E, Big Show, Billy Kay, Bo Dallas. I believe this is technically is this Bo Dallas's last game or 2K20? I don't remember. Bobby Fish, yes, the Undisputed Era made their debut in this game. Bobby Roode, Braun Strowman, Bray Wyatt 14, Bret Hitman Hart, Brie Bella, Bulldog, Lesnar, Beefcake, Young Daniel Bryan, Candice LeRae, I already said that. Carmella, Cedric, Cesaro, Chad Gable, Charlotte Flair, Chris Jericho. The final game to have Chris Jericho in 2000 and 2010 because he went to AEW and he never came back. So if you want to play as Y2J one more time, it's this game. Christian, Cole Quinn, Kurt Hawkins, Curtis Axel, Dana Brooke, Daniel Bryan, 10, 12, 13, 14, Dash Wilder, DDP, the last game of Dean Ambrose, one of my GOATs, the best member of the Shield in my opinion. Always rooted for him, but it's over. Final game in the WWE game series. Diesel, Dolph Ziggler, Drake Maverick as manager. Although, fun fact, you can actually play as people like Drake Maverick and Selena Vega. If you just switch out their attires, they're actually fully playable superstars, actually, as well as Paul Heyman. This is the first game you were able to do that. Whether or not the developers intended for that to happen or not, who knows? But essentially, if you just switch their all attires, they become a actual playable superstar. Drew Gulak, Drew McIntyre, Dusty Rhodes, and 85, EC3, Eddie Guerrero, Edge. I already said EC. El Mongo, Elias, Ember Moon, Epico Cologne. I believe this is the last game of the Colognes. Eric Young. Like I said, this roster you will not see again. Eric Rowan, 14, Fandango, Finn Balor, Demon, Jack Gallagher, Goldberg, Gold. I believe this is Goldust's last game too, because he also went to AEW. Grand Metalik, Greg Valentine, Harper. I believe is still in 2K20. I think, is he? Actually, this is the one I'm not 100% sure. Yes, he was. All right, I knew I wasn't crazy. Heath Slater, Daily Tommy, I believe. No, Daily Tommy is still in 2K20. Is he? Is he? I think this is Daily Tommy's last game. Yes, it was. I knew he wasn't. Because, yeah. Ivory, Jacqueline, Jake Roberts, Jason Jordan's last game? Maybe, because he was pretty much done. Yes, it was. See, I'm good at this. I'm good at this. Jeff Hardy, Jey Uso, 14, Jim Neidhart, Jim Uso, 14, Jinder Mahal, John Cena, 03, 13, Johnny Gargano, debut of Kairi Sane, Kalisto, Kane, 12, Kane 98, Carl Anderson, Cassius Ohno, Kevin Nash, Kevin Owens, 18, Killian Dane, Kane Booger, Kofi Kingston, 12, Connor, Angle, 6, Kyle O'Reilly. Lana, yes, is actually a playable character. Now, Lars Sullivan, Lex Luger, Lindsay Dorado, Lita, Liv Morgan makes her debut. Gallows, Harper, 14. Mandy Rose, Maurice. Yes, Mandy Rose makes her debut as well as Sonya Deville, Matt Hardy, Mickie James, Mojo Rawley, Montez Ford, Perfect, Ali, Naomi, Natalia, Nia Jax, Nick Miller. I believe this is the last game for him. I don't think he's in 2K20. I know we still got Slapjack. I mean, he might be in 2K20. I'll be shocked if he is. No, yeah, I knew. Mike. Wait, I missed Mike. Like who? Mike Kanellis. There he is. He was DLC. Maria and Mike Kanellis, yes. Nikki Bella, Noe Jose, Noam Dar. I believe this was his day. No, he was in 2K. He was in 2K18. I'm like 90% sure he was in 2K18. Oni Lorcan, this was his debut. Otis as well. Paige, despite her not wrestling anymore, she was still in this game. Papa Shango. Pete Dunne made his debut. Peyton Royce. Primo, I believe this is... I swear to God, him and Epico are going by now. Starting with, 2K19 has to be their last. Yep, see? Sometimes I nail it. R-Truth, 12. Randy Orton, 13. Savage. It's such a big roster. Ravishing Rick Rude, Razor Ramon, Razor, Rhino. I believe... Is this Rhino's last game? Holy shit, it is. I nailed that one perfectly. Ric Flair, 88. 91. Rick Martel. A lot of these are their last games. Ricky Morton, Steamboat, 94. It's basically all DLCs you got in the previous years. These are pretty much their last games. Rikishi, Roderick Strong, the Rock and Roll Express, Roman Reigns, Rowan, Roddy Piper, Ruby Riott. I love how they had the same render as her, even though her hair is longer. Rusev, Sami Zayn, Samoa Joe, Sarah Logan, Sasha, Scott Dawson, Scott Hall. I swear to God they're in 2K20. I swear to God they are. Yep. I knew for kind of. Scott, I love how they're using the WWE 13 render. Shawn Michaels in this. Scott Hall, Seth Rollins, Shane Thorne. I believe he's still in 2K20, or they just put him as Slapjack in 2K22. The debut of Shayna Baszler, Shawn Michaels, Sheamus, Shelton Benjamin, Shinsuke Nakamura. Yes, Shelton Benjamin makes his debut in this game because he was not in 2K18. I know that sounds crazy, but he was not in 2K18. He's just the timing of it. Absolutely wild. Sin Cara, Sonya Deville, Stephanie. How many goddamn Stephanie? Steve Austin, Sting, 91, 98, 99, Sid, Tamina. Again, you could actually play as the Singh brothers if you just do all the tires. Tatanka, that's kind of random. Ted DiBiase, The Godfather, The Miz, Miz 10, The Rock, 01, Titus, TJP. I believe this is TJP's last game too. And I think about it. Yes, I nailed that one. Tony Nese, Triple H, 01, 13, 14, Trish Stratus, Tucker Knight, Ty Dillinger. This is Ty Dillinger's last game until 2K25. Right? Because I don't think he was in 2K20. Yep, knew it. See, sometimes I nail it. Because he went to AEW. Tyler Bate when he had a mustache. Tyler Breeze, Ultimate Warrior, Undertaker, 02. 91, Vader, Velveteen Dream, Victor. Velveteen Dream was in 2K20, I believe. So he should be fine. Xavier Woods, Zack Ryder, and Zelina Vega. What a goddamn roster. Like I said, a lot of final people like Dean Ambrose and Chris Jericho are obvious ones. All that good stuff. Now, to make sure I'm not crazy, I noticed, do I have Undertaker 02? I better have him. Yeah. What a roster. We're never going to get a roster like this again. The lineup. Again, like the final, essentially, unique WWE roster that had the Raw, SmackDown, NXT, UK 205 Live before AEW came, took everyone. I do have Undertaker 02. That's cool. So there's that. So now we're going to look at arguably the best iteration of MyCareer story-wise, because I guess they learned the whole non-linear aspect of MyCareer was not really helping much, because there was nothing really. They tried to make it like NBA MyCareer, and they realized, you know what, we're just going to write our own story. Technician, Powerhouse, Giant, Cruiser, Striker. For the sake of this, we're just gonna pick Striker. We're gonna keep everything as superstar. We're just trying to go with the flow here. Accept appearance. We just need. I seriously do not care. Need some hair. Good stuff. Good stuff. Good stuff. Skip all of this. I just need an attire. Thank you. Just give me an attire. I just want to go to the story. Hopefully, I've seen the game loading. Hopefully, it did not freeze if I hit skip. There's no way this game froze. No, I see it. There we go. There we go. I love how they gave me basically Dean Ambrose's outfit. That's absolutely hilarious. That is hilarious. They gave me Dean Ambrose's outfit. Let's just see how this story starts. It's very unique. I don't think any wrestling game started like this. So again, a lot of this stuff was tied to online with the loot boxes. So again, one of the unique things, you have your like my player tree, your attributes, so you can like, can I can't do anything. All right, cool. My tree, real quick, you can do this, update your wrestler this way. It's like it felt like an RPG. Essentially, they made an RPG story mode. I kind of liked it. Not gonna lie, thought it was cool. Still is cool. Like the aspect of this RPG thing. It wasn't just for this. It's for like the 2K. It was like online too, for like total 2K towers, all that good stuff. So like it wasn't just this. So I thought it was fine. I think that's it for me. All right. Then you had your profile. Again, that was really for online. Hey, bro, how you been? Hello, Dub2922. I've been fine. We're still going strong with this marathon event. What is your best memory of 2K19? Again, like some certain towers are here, like 205 Live, right? So you can go through this stuff to build up your get some of the loot boxes. Yes, they have loot boxes in here. But again, this was back in when you don't actually use virtual currencies. So you were actually good on that front. And you can prestige too, but this is more online where that mattered. Profile. Where are the loot boxes? I know I'm looking for loot boxes here. I know there's a loot box here. I'm not crazy. Oh, loot box store. There we go. Like you can just buy. What's the expensive thing? Like whatever this is, right? Champions pack, 200 tokens. Let's see what we get. The RP tree is like the training room thing. Yeah, you're right. I totally forgot to showcase that when we were in the Road to WrestleMania mode. You're absolutely right, though. And you could actually scrap some of these if you didn't like it. You give them more points. Like so this was again, they were. I guess these were like baby steps. You could kind of see it, baby steps to microtransactions. But since they weren't real, you weren't using real money. This was okay. Again, baby steps, baby steps. Well, yes, let's look at MyCareer and see how it starts off. Again, I feel like this is, again, unique perspective of a wrestler starting his career in WWE. Or making it there. Wondering where these arenas like BCW and that, it all started here, 2K19. Bro, that's crazy. I was just thinking about going back to 19 because 2K26 AI is still not better than 18 or 19. That's great, guys. I was actually praising 2K26 DLC. I haven't played that much. To be fair, I haven't played it that much. But again, I feel like 19 perfected the simulation system thanks to the payback, and just I just hate the stupid collar and elbow tie up that you have to do for every single move just to hit a suplex. Like this is not WWF No Mercy. We're in 2026. Why can't we just hit the move?
Is this weirdo bothering you?
He's one of the wrestlers.
No, I'm not. Have fun at the show.
Yo, I thought wrestlers had money.
But yeah, that's just my opinion on it.
See? Good
I see how, again, this has nothing to do with WWE, but it's just a cool, interesting way to introduce your character. You don't start out as a WWE wrestler. You're starting out as an indie promotion.
I mean, about the wrestler, on the poster who's
Now, again, this is like a perfect example of like Visual Concepts probably saw this story. They've tried to recreate it in every My Rise. It just does not work because they don't. I don't think they truly understand the essence of wrestling. Ukes does. So like they make it wacky and stupid. This is way more grounded and realistic. These Cycle Studios were in 2K20 background. Where are they now? Again, 2K20 is an abomination. Only briefly played it for like a few matches just for some clips for my short that I was doing with the woman that you see in my short section. I had to get a few clips from there, but I could care less about them. We're gonna look at a little bit of the 2K20 story, but I feel like it's an abomination of a story. Like Visual Concept, I don't know what they were doing with that. You try to tell a story that just did not make any. I even tried Checkmate's sliders, but still not better than 19. Yeah, I mean, yeah, Checkmate's look good sliders, but I mean, you can only do so much with a game that is really not meant to be a sim. They have simulation elements, but again, when you have stupid stuff like the stupid combo moves, combo breakers, that has nothing to do with wrestling. You can only go so far with it. Is what I'm trying to say. You can only go so far. Have yet to put in a wrestling match again, just telling the story of this guy. He lives in his van. They like I feel like 2K was like, this is not Road to WrestleMania levels of good storytelling, but like I feel like Ukes was cooking for this one a little bit. Now, yes, the first sign of anything related to WWE, and that has to do with Albert, Matt Bloom, whatever you want to call him. Tenzai, the four faces of Prince Albert. I don't know. So yeah. Yes, you have your phone. Like reminiscence of SmackDown versus Raw 2011. I think this was like a little callback to that with the phone settings. Your dad messaged you.
July 12th, 2014.
Hey bro, what if they implemented to switch on the fly, like how you can do a tag team match? You can tell any story you want in a one-on-one match. What if they implemented to switch on the fly, like how you can do it, or you want to do in one-on-one matches? But see, that requires effort. Man, 2K is not in it for effort. Their priorities is in the island and my faction. They don't care. they don't care. You see how I have in my faction where like superstars reappear and disappear like it's freaking a Marvel vs. Capcom game. Like fighting in those matches, like it's cool. Again, if this was not in the main series, I would not care about it. I would think it would probably look great. Like that's my point. They don't care, man. We're yelling to the choir. We're talking to the choir, whatever that phrase is. They don't give a fuck. They're probably, as long as they have whales buying those card packs for no reason, the game is never going to improve. They're going to do the bare minimum. Universe mode is. What else are they going to add in universe mode next year? I can't see it. They added the draft back. Keep in mind that was something that was in WWE 12. I can't think of anything that they can add back that was taken out that they can put back into universe mode. It has to be something completely new and different. They kind of already killed universe mode because the whole story structure system. There's so many things that they can improve if they would just get their head out their ass and not stop focusing on my faction and the island. Like again, universe mode. I'm gonna put over Cole Quinn.
Cole's great. You won't be disappointed.
I already know how the story's gonna play out anyway. It's like there's so many things they could, like universe mode. My biggest gripe with universe mode, it used to be great. 2011 to 13 was great because the story structure and rivalry system in that game was so great because it was random. It wasn't linear. You didn't have like 4 rivalries and go at it from there. The rivalry manager killed it. The whole universe mode system. It's I don't want to know what's happening when I'm in universe mode. Shit should just happen and it would make sense. That's how 2011 and 12 did, especially 12. They did it perfectly. Everything made sense regardless of the cutscene. It eventually made sense. But since you already know what's gonna happen with the stupid rivalry, the rivalry manager or whatever, it makes it pointless. You already know how the ending's gonna be. Yeah, once you see like the 5 same storylines, you pretty much seen them all. Where the old system, it wasn't tied to a specific weekly whatever. It just whatever made sense at the time. If they would add that back and overhaul that in universe mode, I'll give it another chance. But other than that, there's not much they could do. I think whenever Wrestling Code comes out and Netbreaker comes out, I'll try those. I mean, that's what the key word is. Whenever they come out, they're dragging their feet on it. To be fair, I don't think they were gonna come out. To be honest with you, the rate that they're going, I just want great logic, real life. I mean, they could look at Fire Pro. There's aspects of it there with the AI tendency sliders and the AI moves thing as well. Like, there's aspects of it there. They're just not pushing it, and you can thank Brian Williams for that because he originally was with THQ working on these games. You can thank him for that, but they're just never going to improve. And there's no reason for it. AEW Fight Forever was basically our last chance for them doing anything good for the game, and you saw with 2K24, they did put their best foot forward. They added 4 new matches, which we'll get into. They added like a bunch of blood, all that good stuff, like super finishers. Like they actually, that was a game that they put in. Trust me, AEW Fight Forever did not come out. All those improvements they put in 2K24, despite it being a
never mind, just enjoy the match.
That's hilarious. It's despite being a horrendous 2K showcase with the WrestleMania, the showcase of the Immortals thing. The actual gameplay was fine in 2K24, but because they actually had competition, so they wanted to try. But since they realized AEW Fight Forever did horrendously and no one played it outside like the first month, they was like, oh, okay, we could just coast again. Never mind, there's no more improvements. Do you really think they would have let you use Persona cards despite the fan backlash with the whole, which we'll get into with 2K24 stream? Do you really think they were gonna let you use Persona cards outside of my faction? It wasn't for Fight Forever coming out? Because I'm not saying the community voices don't mean anything, but they ignored y'all for 2 games straight. The only reason why they finally caved it had nothing to do with what's the status. Don't, like, I mean, the reality is they wanted to make sure everyone stayed with WWE games, so they pretty much just caved to the fans on that one. Yeah, they knew that was the one thing they could just, okay, we could please these types of people. But it was literally just because of AEW Fight Forever. If AEW Fight Forever did not exist, they would have just kept the Persona cards straight up in my faction. I mean, there would have been no such thing as Persona cards. All the tire would just been stuck in my faction, and we just had to cry about it. I saw last year when Drew McIntyre was playing 25, he did a working hold outside the ring. He said, "What's going on with this? I would never do that." And I think even CM Punk's like, they had a move with him do Rey Mysterio. He never did his finisher day in life. They don't watch the I told you, these developers do not know what a wrestling game is. Why are we having fighting stances in 2026 with 2K26? Even though, sorry, 2K22. Why'd that do a collar and elbow tie up just to hit a suplex? What is going on? Like, that's why they don't care, bro. They just don't care. And it sucks. I mean, unfortunately, it sucks because that, what the hell is my signature? The knee smash, grounded, upper body, running. Okay. I didn't mean to do that. They don't care. They just put out the bare minimum. As long as they put out something that looks like a wrestling game, they're gonna say, we did good on our front, guys.
Except for me. Other than that, it's all action.
But yeah, they don't.
And these guys are 2 of the best.
They do not give a crap. Come on, let me hit the finisher.
Oh my god!
Can't believe this is his finisher though. This is so stupid. For Striker, I should have updated to the end of days. Referee, what are you doing? There we go. And we're gonna see this cutscene, and then we'll probably call it for this stream. Yeah, we're just gonna see this cutscene real quick. Let's see what the next cutscene is. Again, maybe after this event we can look more at the MyCareer of this mode. I'm not doing it justice this first thing. It's a very in-depth story. Again, it's linear, it's straight from point A to point B, but the story is good. It's the last good story I feel like it's in the current 2K games in terms of their MyCareer, which is now called My Rise.
Good match, Van Gogh.
Yeah, great job out
Then it found like ridiculous. You weren't just shaking your head while you're looking at the mode or whatnot.
I'm gonna get a condo on the beach.
there's no beach in Orlando.
And I feel like they put their best effort into an actual story.
We have a few things to discuss.
Like what? My start date? Future opponents? Waist measurements for the NXT title?
Not exactly. To be honest, I'm not a fan of your Mr. CQ character. You need to come up with something different.
It's not really a character, but fine.
Yeah.
I can come up with something different after I get to NXT.
Full disclosure, I don't think you'll be heading to NXT. Not anytime soon, at least. You're just not ready. I was actually more impressed with your opponent over here.
Wait, what?
So I've decided to offer him an
Yo, I'm
opportunity
here.
instead. You'll have a try.
No, you're all good, SKS. I appreciate you commenting on my 2K17 stream. So I'm glad you enjoyed that. Yeah, we're about to wrap up with 2K19. Again, for simulation, this is the perfection of it. I know I really do game justice. I'm trying to talk about all the aspects at once. I know I only have so much time in like a 2.5 hour window. But again, this is I'm not doing this game's justice. You're going to have a good time here in terms of gameplay. For those who want a perfected simulation wrestling game, like bell to bell, with like an adjustment of the sliders, it's in 2K19. Ukes outdid themselves with this game. This is I mean, 2K20 kind of also has it, but no one touches that game. Even though we're going to touch it tomorrow because we're actually going to play the version where, if only that was the release day version instead of the 20th patch that took forever for them to finally fix it. What is your favorite memory of 2K19 Alpha?
That's not what I meant. I'm just saying we're building something good here. Besides, if you left, who would design our title belts?
I only make your belts because you pay us so little for wrestling. It's so bad teacher's pet over here has to live in his van.
Yes, I do live in my van.
I only live in it when
Oh, what's up, 2K up in flames? I definitely joined 19 along with 16, 17. 2K24 worked for me, but after months of work, 2K, I haven't. The issue with the current games are very simple. There's no difference to them. If you played 2K22, you basically played them all. Hey, hear me out for a second. I know they slowly drip feed the stuff that was the simulation stuff that was in 2K19 to the games, but once you play either 2K22 or 2K26, there's no reason to play the games in between because they're all the same game. There's no distinct identity. Like, for example, 2K24 had the 4 match types. That was their whole thing. Guess what? They're in 2K25. So now there's basically no reason for you to play 2K24. The super finishers that started in 2K24, they're in 2K25. So now there's no reason for you to play 2K24. I can only play the draft in season mode, and SmackDown shuts your mouth. I can only have endless possibilities of the season mode. Keep restarting it, and here comes the pain. I have unique storylines in SmackDown vs. Raw and SmackDown vs. Raw 2006. The 24/7 mode, right? As much as controversial that is, that's only in 2008. The unique storylines in Road to WrestleMania, like stuff like that, you only get in those games. Tag team systems, create a story from 2010 to 2K14. The Attitude Era, Road to WrestleMania. There was a reason to play those games. Once you play showcases, the first few games, because the slingshot technology kind of ruined it. And then don't get started on my ride. They're just poor excuses of what the storytelling of this game was. This like this right here, the storytelling of this, they've been trying to replicate it since, and I think the closest they ever got to it was 2K25 by accident probably. But we'll get to when that's the finale stream for Monday. But yeah, it's just that's current with the problem with the current games. Gameplay wise, again, I'm always gonna test it. It's the best we're gonna get. But since their priorities are on my fascinating island, the game is just simply never gonna improve. They just blend into each other. Like, again, what can they possibly do in 2K27 that's not in 2K26 that's worth $60? I mean, sure, they could add, the Iron Survivor match that people have been asking for since, I don't know, 2003. So it would have been, at this point, almost 4 years. That should have been in the game to begin with. But then that's pretty much it. What else can they possibly do? I watched that be the selling point too, by the way. Ukes literally put their heart and soul. And first of all, thank you, Planet Flames, for first time stopping by. I appreciate it. We're doing this 25-day event, how we got 2K26. So tomorrow we're gonna focus on 2K20. Yuke's literally put their heart and soul into my favorite memory. Is probably why we had so many
Go
different
introduce
arenas and
yourself to
superstars they
Braun.
showcase. I could literally use Ring of Honor, Daniel Bryan, so that's
Don't
cool.
worry.
I mean, again, I'm not really a fan of the current day superstar showcase, but at least again the variety of arenas back in like the PG era, and then they added Daniel Bryan when he first started in Velocity, like good stuff like that. Yeah, I get what you mean.
Hey, Braun.
But
I just wanted to introduce.
again, they didn't.
No
Ukes knew this was going to be their last game, despite that interview that I showed earlier in the stream. The reason why I specifically showed that, we're going to get the full context of it tomorrow. Ukes knew this was going to be their last game, but they didn't half-ass it, unlike Visual Concepts, what they currently do every single year. No offense, I hate to bash developers, I really do, because I know this. What do I know about making a game? But I look at the final product of the game, and it's like, once you play 2K22, there's no reason to play 23 or 24. Then you can skip but then you have to choose between 25 or 26. We're just gonna do a normal match. We're not gonna play it though.
I want a regular match.
It's just
That way I can show Triple H that I can put up a fight inside the ring without having to.
that's what it is. They just blend into each other. So here's case in point, 2K22, right? You know, with the new graphics engine or whatever. Would you believe if I told you, outside of the lighting that they added, the better lighting, there is no difference graphic-wise between 2K22 and 2K26. They're all the same character models. Don't believe me? In 2K22, they imported Candice LeRae's character model and Mia Yim's into 2K23, and there was virtually no difference despite the better lighting. That's my point. The game has looked the same since 2K22. There's been no graphical update, despite the fact that they dropped the next-gen consoles. I mean, despite the fact that they dropped the Xbox One and PS4, people thought we were going to get an update in graphics. Nope. I think they are content with this graphics engine forever. They're just gonna keep it forever. Despite the fact that used to continue able to update the engine every single year in that little bit of time frame that they had. So this is just pure laziness in my opinion. I'm just speaking for, I see it for what it is. If Ukes then were able to update the graphics every single year, like, think about it. From Just Bring It to Shut Your Mouth look completely different. From Shut Your Mouth to Here Comes the Pain look completely different. From Here Comes the Pain to SmackDown vs. Raw look completely, like, every single year the games look different. Like I said, we're pretty much going to stop right here with MyCareer. Maybe we might play this on stream one day to get the full story and context. It is a great story mode. Again, one of the last good story modes, original story modes in a WWE. In my personal opinion. If it will load. So yep, chapter 2. I honestly wish Fight Forever was better than 1. As I said, Fight Forever is the reason why we're stuck with what we have. That game was the only game that made 2K24 what it was. You think they were gonna add those 4 new matches? No, they weren't. You think they were gonna do all of that super finish? No, they weren't. They were trying to make sure you stayed on 2K24 with Fight Forever, because I am like 90% sure. Let me see. Fight Forever came out in late 2003. Fight Forever came out in June 2003, so that's why they were trying to make sure 2K24 was the best game possible that following year. So because that did absolutely nothing, 2K24 was like the biggest leap from 2K22 to 24, but then after that, they've just been coasting. It is what it is. But yes, despite me talking about the other games, 2K19 of itself, hopefully I showed you with the gameplay. I can only show you so much in a 2.5 hour window. Plus, we had some good conversations here earlier. Talk about, as you probably saw earlier if you were watching the stream, SmackDown 2016, how good it was back in the day, and the storylines or whatnot. 2K19, gameplay-wise, simulation, this is the perfection of it. 2K20 is very similar, but no one really talks about that, because of which we'll get into tomorrow. But this was considered the peak of the wrestling game series. Every other game after this is either bad or in the middle ground. So that's why the last time they got it right, a lot of people would think this was the game that did it, because this was Ukes' swan song. They developed the game since 2000. For almost 20 years, they have been the go-to people for making wrestling games and for the WWE license. So in tomorrow's stream, we're going to see what a world looks like when the original developers, Ukes, do not make a wrestling game, and then they transfer it to Visual Concept. We're going to see Visual Concept's first attempt at a wrestling game with WWE 2K20. The game where the franchise hit rock bottom. So thank you all for who watched live. So a quick shout out to Red, Michael, Ahmed, Wamik. Who else was here? Alex. Will, who was here earlier. Appreciate it. Mike already said that. Beans on toast. Johnny Burney. I don't miss everyone. Slade was here. Fat Gamer, thanks for stopping by. Jeffrey. Sarah, who stopped by earlier. Jeffrey, appreciate you, man. Dubc2922, thanks for stopping by. And 2K Pun and Flames, thank you. Hey, bro, are you on X? I am, but I barely use it, so I am on there, but I just barely use it. Here, actually, as a matter of fact, yeah, I'll give you my Twitter handle. I just don't expect me like post or I just barely use it. There's my Twitter handle if you guys want to follow me on X. So thank you guys. We'll be back tomorrow with 2K20.